Gadada Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krišna, dragi bakte, lepo pozdravljeni v Hare Krišna centru. Hvala Jagat Prasu Prabhu za čudovite bhađane. Danes Nas bo s predavanjem navdihnila Šrila Prabhupadova učenka, njena svetost, njena milost, Urmila Mataji. Naslov predavanja je Karierna dharma za bhakte. Naj jo na kratko predstavim za vse tiste, ki je še ne poznate dovolj dobro, sicer je naša redna gostja. Ima 3 poročene otroke, 13 vnukov in 2 pravnuka. Doktorirala je iz pedagogike, bila je osnovnošolska in srednješolska učiteljica in ima veliko izkušenj s šolstvom in vodenju šol znotraj ISKCON-a. Je predsednica Šastričnega svetovalnega sveta za svetovni GBC. 30 let je bila sodelavka uredništva revije Back to Godhead in profesorica sociologije na Collegeu Bhakti-Vedanta. Potuje po vsem svetu in poučuje o zavesti Krišne, je avtorica knjig Essence Seekers, pa Dr. Best Learn to Read, programa za opismenjevanje v 83 jezikih. Tako da najprej bom še vam predstavila današnji program. Današnje predavanje bo trajalo 1 uro, tako da bo do 15 do 5 duhovni ples, Gaura Arati, o 5 so spet obvestila, sledi vegetarijanska pojedina in pa na to ob 7 program plus. Hare Krishna. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Did you tell them if they need translation, it's here? Everybody's okay with English? English okay? Yes? Okay, if I talk too fast, or if I say some word you don't understand, would you please stop me and ask? Yes? 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 Agree? Otherwise I won't speak, because... Not yes, sir. Oh, Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, Arukama Prabhu has asked that I speak for an hour. Do we want that to include discussion, or we just have discussion afterwards at Prasadam? Include discussion. Okay. Try to leave like 10 minutes for discussion. And we have just a very, very few copies of our new book available from... Raise your hand. Yes? Right there? So this is I'm not going to be talking about this today, but if you've seen some of my online classes, I have been discussing this book, and it's a book about how to find the divine in the water, in the air, in your steps, in your abilities, in the birds, in everything. And it's got a short little, like 5-minute meditations per day. So we have this book available here. You can also get it on Amazon, but it costs a lot more money on Amazon. So anyway, if you want, we have just a very, very few copies left. So if you would like to get a copy, you can see Valentina. All right. Prabhupada ki jai. So today we are going to look at the career dharma system, 9 principles to identify and live our ideal career. And it's called the Best Datta course because the co-authors of this book are me, Dr. Best, and my friend, Dr. Datta. So therefore it's the Best Datta course. We like our names very much. So what I'm going to be doing today is just an overview. Our book is coming out this month. We've just sent it to the printer. If you would like to get on our mailing list to be told about when the book is available, you can go here to sign up. We're not Amazon. We will not send you an immediate confirmation email. But if you go here and put your name, we will definitely get that for you. Or if you want to just pick up this QR code on your phone, and we will let you know. Also, we're working on a much more in-depth course. What I'm teaching today is just skimming the surface. So again, we will inform you of more in-depth courses and also the publication of the book. All right. And why don't you all sit where you can see? Oh, please, sit where you can see. Okay. Yeah, no way can you see over there. That's not, unless you have some mystic power that I don't know about. I don't think that's possible. Okay. So I'd like you to imagine that your daily life has gradually come to include the practices and activities you've always dreamed of. You love the work you're doing, what you're producing, and how you're making a meaningful contribution. Your work is bringing you the types of prosperity that truly enrich you and that you can share with others. Please sit where you can also see, okay? Can you sit where you can see? Yeah. Okay, good. So we're going to be looking at this in 4 areas that progress from individual to society. First, to identify our ideal career field and prosperity type. And that's the thing that most people are interested in. But that doesn't take us to full career dharma. We have to take a step further to learn the secrets of making our work deeply meaningful. And then even a step further to progress to dharmic mastery. And then finally, we will look at the whole system for peace and prosperity. Now, these 4 areas encompass 9 principles of career dharma. Now, this research was taken from the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavad Purana, as well as many empirical sources. My PhD is in education. Dr. Datta's PhD is in mathematics. She's also done a lot of work in medical research, scientific research. So we pulled from extensive empirical sources of research in addition to the Vedic wisdom. So these are the 9 principles. Why don't we read this all together, okay? Connecting our nature with our livelihood, advancing through life while nourishing our nature, extending our prosperity to others, ethical and meaningful work of value, delight in cherishing our prosperity and field of work, having celebrations of the sacred in our life and work, above the shades of ego, maintaining societal balance, cooperation between the fields, and competition within the fields, all-inclusive, sustainable prosperity. Now, Krishna really helped us figure out this really cool thing where we were able to have these 9 principles form the word career dharma. So I really like that. All right. So we're going to go one at a time. And again, I want to emphasize we are just touching the surface. Many of these principles can be expanded into 4 or 5 hours of classes. Just one principle. And many of them encompass several chapters in our book. So if you feel that I'm going too fast, you are absolutely correct. So there is enough information in today's presentation that you can bring Dharma to your career. However, many of you will have further questions that will require more in-depth study. So I'm just touching on this, okay? Just to be clear. All right, the first principle, connecting our nature with our livelihood. So I'd like to ask you, do you know of anybody who is cash rich but leads a poor life? Any of you know of anybody who's cash rich but needs a poor life? Anybody? Yes? Some of you never read the news? So in any news headline, you will read of such people. And how many of you know of someone who is cash poor but has a rich life? Yes. So we all understand that there is not a one-to-one equivalency between cash and a rich life. Everybody knows this. Now, cash is important. Everybody needs cash. I need cash. We're not saying that cash is unimportant. However, according to the Vedic wisdom, there's 6 types of prosperity. And in order for us to be in a career that matches our nature, we want to get from our work the types of prosperity that are the most meaningful to us. Now, this varies from one person to another, and most of us have 2 or 3 types of prosperity that really are essential for us to feel that we have a rich life. Now, we're not talking right now about what kinds of prosperity our work gives to others. That's also a consideration. But here we're looking at what kinds of prosperity do I get from my work. So again, going through this quickly. The first is Aishvarya, which comes from the Sanskrit word Ishwara, which means leadership. So there are many people that really feel happy if their work gives them opportunities for leadership, for helping and guiding others. Other people don't care. They'll work in an office by themselves or just be part of a team. Gyan. Many of us really want a career where part of the career is to be constantly learning. That we can't do our job nicely unless we're always enriching ourselves with knowledge. Other people are happy to learn what they need for their work, and that's it. Virya. Many of us want careers where a basic part of that career will add to our health and strength. My daughter is a teacher of classical Indian dance, and it is not possible for her to do her work without getting vigorous exercise. It's part of her work. That's not true for my work. If I want exercise, I have to do that outside my work. Shri. This means beauty or charismatic leadership. This is visual beauty, auditory beauty, can be beauty in nature. Some of us will only have a rich life if our work is bringing beauty into our life. Again, this is not talking about what we give to others. For some people, it doesn't matter. Yasha. Having a community that appreciates us for our good works. Many of us want work that involves being part of a community that is regularly appreciating us and acknowledging us for doing good work. Other people, again, it doesn't really matter. They can work in their own office. They don't really care if anybody notices them or not. Their work doesn't have to be part of a community. Then Vairagya. A lot of us only feel enriched by our work if it adds to our freedom and renunciation. Maybe it means we have a flexible schedule, or we can travel, or we can live a minimalist lifestyle. And for other people, they're much more concerned with security. So I have one friend who used to be a traveling musician. He would write his own music, and he would study a lot to write that music, and he was traveling from place to place. What was his work bringing him? Vairagya and Shri, and also some Gyan. So now he has a different career. Now he is a tour guide in wilderness trekking. He takes people on, walks through mountains and like that. So he has to study about the natural resources, and he's still getting Vairagya, right? He has to live with just a backpack on his back, and he goes from one national forest to another. He's still getting Gyan as he has to study about the area, and he's still getting Shri, this time in terms of natural beauty. Now, in addition to the 6 types of prosperity, for which each of us generally really need 2 or 3 of them in order to feel that our career is making us rich, the Vedic wisdom also talks about the 4 different fields of work. Now, Dr. Datta and myself intentionally did not use the Sanskrit terms for these fields because people come with preconceived ideas about the meaning of these words, which may cloud their understanding. So the words we've chosen also need explanation, but we are looking at the field of artistry, the field of resources, the field of government, and the field of ideas. And we talked a lot, Dr. Datta and I, about why in the Vedic wisdom literature are all the hundreds and thousands of careers divided into these 4 fields. And what we concluded is that the dharma, the values of each field, is unique to that field and contradicted by the other fields. What's dharma, what's valuable, what's ethical in one field becomes unethical and adharma in another field. Therefore, this distinction, because each of us can only have one field. We might be in one field that assists another field, but we can only be in one field. Otherwise, we would be at war with ourselves. Let's look in turn at each of the fields. Again, this is very brief. First, there is the field of artistry. The field of artistry provides all the beauty and function in society. The only reason anything works is because of people in this field. It is the least abstract of the field. It has clearly defined standards for excellence and clearly defined standards for how to achieve them. This is for people who love the fine arts or service careers or where they get to really work on a craft. Maybe their body is their art. Now, what's most important to these people in their work is that their work provides beauty and support for the society. If they're going to ask, is my work successful? They would ask, is it beautiful? Is it supportive? Now, many of us might want to give beauty and support in our work, but this is the prime interest of the people in this field. Next, let's turn to the field of ideas. This is, in contrast to the field of artistry, the most abstract of the fields, as far as what constitutes excellence and the way to achieve it. This is the field that includes teaching, not like teaching how to change your tires, but teaching wisdom, teaching truth, teaching overall vision and dharma, counseling, a lot of jobs as a therapist, religious trainers, a lot of medical jobs are in this field. Now, these people can teach truth and wisdom through language or mathematics, or, interestingly enough, sometimes through the fine arts. There's a goddess Saraswati that is the goddess of both learning and the arts. So let's say you have a musician. How do you know if they're in the field of artistry or the field of ideas? If their main focus is on beauty, they're in the field of artistry. If their main focus is on wisdom, they're in the field of ideas. So if you have a musician who's like, my baby left me and I'm crying, that's artistry. Okay? You have a musician who's writing songs about philosophy and truth, that's ideas. So the main question that these people want their work to answer in order for them to feel satisfied is it true? Is it wise? At the end of the day, the work I did I add to truth and wisdom in the world? So artistry, beauty and support, ideas, truth and wisdom. Can you see over there? Perfectly, she says. All right. Now we're going to go to the field of resources. The Bhagavad Purana says the people in this field are always thirsty. Doesn't mean for water. It means they always want to expand. These are the only people in this field who are generating resources for society. Everyone else just moves them around or changes their form, but these are the only people who generate the resources for society. Without these people, we do not eat. Yes? And they want to take certain resources, channel them to themselves, increase them for a profit, and then make them available to people in general. Yes? Now, this field is a little bit more abstract than artistry, as concepts of what make an ideal business and how to be trained to be an ideal business person can vary considerably depending on the business or from one culture to another. The main questions that these people ask about their work, and this is important, is it sustainable and is it regenerative? Now, these words don't just refer to the ecology. In other words, these people want to make sure that whatever they're doing in business or agriculture or trade is going to generate enough profit that it's going to be able to continue. This is the concept of saving seeds from the harvest to use the next time. This concept is not so much operative in the other fields. All right, let's now look at the field of government. So as soon as you have more than a small group of humans, we need some way of organization, some way of defense, some oversight of the group. Now, the difference between government and resources is that government is supposed to care about everyone and everything, whereas in resources, you're just concerned about your particular resource. So while there's leaders in all four fields, there's leaders in gymnastics, there's leaders in business, right? There's leaders in science. The people in this field are the overall leaders for society. Just like there's intelligent people who are artists, and there's intelligent people who are business persons, intelligent people in government, but the intelligentsia is in the field of ideas. Clear? So there's leaders in all four fields. There's intelligent people in all four fields. But in government, these are the leaders of society. Now, the field of government is not just about political governments, but also refers to nonprofit organizations that do the work of government. We may call them non-government organizations, but they're actually doing government-type work. It can also apply to a landlord, where their kingdom, if you sit there, you won't be able to see. Yes, please sit where you can see. So their kingdom may just be an apartment building, and instead of not me, this. Yes. So their kingdom may just, well, people walk in, they don't even see that there's something on the screen. They just don't know. Please sit back there so you can see. Thank you. So their kingdom may just be like an apartment building, and instead of taxes, they're collecting rent, but they're providing the kind of services that a government provides. These people act as the arms of society, not only in terms of police, firefighting, military, but also in terms of caring for everyone. They're like the big parents of society. Now, also it's very important, can you see the screen? Yes? It's also very important, Krishna says, am I going too fast? No. You sure? Okay. So Krishna also tells us twice in the Bhagavad Gita, don't go into someone else's field. You can see the screen from there? You sure? Then you have to turn your head like this all the time. Okay. One time I was in a temple where for the lecture they had people sitting behind me. And I always had to go, are you there? Krishna says that if we go into someone else's field, even if we think we can do it perfectly, it will be dangerous for us. Now, one reason is that we will have to pretend to be something we are not. That is exhausting. Even an actor cannot do that all the time. But Krishna uses a Sanskrit word, bhayavaha. Bhaya means fear. Avaha means a vehicle. Your work becomes like a car made out of fear. Why is that? You know, it's interesting. The Bhagavad Gita has a lot of verses about doing detached work. Yes? Those of you familiar with the Bhagavad Gita? Yes? Yes? Yes. I'm putting you all to sleep? Yes? Okay. No, all right. And the Gita also has a lot of instruction about doing the work that's according to our nature. Interesting. If I do the work that's according to my nature, then the work is like an expression of myself. I am getting intrinsic satisfaction from my work. Therefore, being detached from the results of my work is very easy. If I'm doing someone else's work, I'm not getting any intrinsic satisfaction, and being detached from the results of my work is much more difficult. Let's go on now to principle 2, advancing through life while nourishing our nature. if we're trying to figure out, well, what's my nature? What field do I belong in? We need to remember that there's a big difference between a beginner and an expert. The Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavad Purana mostly describe the people in each of these four fields that are expert. But when we're looking at ourselves, we don't want to look and see, am I an expert in this way? What we want to look at and see is, do I have the beginning inclinations and propensities? Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita that our nature cannot be repressed. In other words, the nature we have in this life is what it is. Just like we are only in one field, although we may be assisting people in another field, we are not going to change our nature in this life. There was one yogi in history who did do that, but it took him 60,000 years, and it was a really rocky path. So this means that our nature is going to be noticeable even when we are young. And so one principle of career dharma is that people's nature should be noticed when they are young and nurtured and cultivated. The empirical research shows that our propensity for one of these four fields is obvious by the time we're 13. I've seen it often obvious way before that. How does one know? Well, what do people like to play with? What do they do without being asked, without being paid? And because in the beginning we may not have the dharmic expertise of our field, we may show our values and our nature in a way that is annoying to others. One very well-known story, you can find his videos on YouTube, is of this man who said that when he was in school, he was always getting in trouble for doing this in the middle of classes. And the teachers were always, punishing him, giving him detention. He was always going to the principal's office. And one day when he was 10, the teacher said, okay, I want to see you after class. Oh boy, I'm in trouble again. But what did the teacher give him? Drumsticks. He became a very famous drummer. What do you think I got in trouble for when I was 3 years old in preschool? Okay, asking questions. Nope. Good guess. I have gotten in trouble my whole life for asking questions, but that wasn't that. I was managing and teaching, but I wasn't managing and teaching the other kids. Who was I teaching, do you think? I was trying to teach the teachers. Now, that's become a big part of my career. The first book I wrote was a 500-page book for teachers about how to teach. But my teachers, when I was 3, they came to my parents. They said, your daughter is a big problem. Instead of playing with the other children, she's always coming to us and telling us how to teach. And so my parents were very upset. They said, no, you shouldn't do this. This is very bad. And the whole time I was growing up, I would be told, stop teaching, stop teaching. It wasn't until I was 24 that I met my mentor, Jyotirmayi Devi Dasi, and she brought out in me, and I found, that's what I am. I'm a teacher. So to really notice what is your nature. Now, this is done in 4 stages of life, and I know I need a better picture for this. I already know that, so I know. It's a terrible picture. So when we are young, we are supposed to be trained in our career. Someone's supposed to notice our propensities and train us in our career. When we're in the prime of life, we work in our career. When we're in middle life, we retire from our career and we guide others. And where we are in old age, we have nothing to do with career and we prepare for our final journey. All right, we have now taken care of the first area, linking our nature to our career, which involved the 2 principles of having the right career and nourishing it. Now we're going to expand a little bit because that's not enough. If I just do the work that's suited for my nature, if I'm just getting the kind of prosperity that suits me, and I'm in the field that matches my values, and I've been nourished and trained in my career, that's not enough to make me happy. I need this 3rd principle of extending my prosperity to others. The Sanskrit word for a kind of wealth is bhaga, which comes from the root bhaj, which means to divide or share. Could you imagine at Christmas instead of getting people to buy gifts for others, if the stores said, why don't you use all that money and buy gifts for yourself? Would that work? Interesting, isn't it? Do we like the gifts other people buy for us? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Why not just take that money and buy what I want for myself? Then I can get exactly what I want. Would that work? No. Isn't that strange? We get more satisfaction by sharing. At least we should be sharing with our family. At least we should be sharing our wealth with a spouse, with children, with our parents, or with the creatures that live around your house, the little bugs and insects and squirrels. But we should be sharing our wealth with those who are less fortunate. Now, again, our wealth is not just cash. So whatever types of prosperity we get from our wealth, our job, we should be sharing with others. If I get leadership, if I get Aishvarya from my job, let me use my leadership in charity. If I get Gyan from my job, let me give knowledge in charity. If I get Virya from my job, let me use my strength and health in charity. If I get Shri from my job, let me share beauty, let me volunteer beauty. If I share Yasha, let me use that fame and community to help others. If I get Vairagya, let me help others to also become renounced. The next principle in this area is that our work should be ethical and meaningful work of value. So, I could have a job that suits me. I could be nourished in that job. I could be giving in charity, my cash and the 6 times of wealth, but I could be doing something really nasty, right? So this principle is also important. My work should be honest. Honest means I charge a fair price for the goods and services. I compensate any employees that I have fairly. I represent my goods and services honestly to my customers or clients. And then it should be providing real value. I should be producing something that people actually need. A lot of what is produced today is what we would call manufactured needs. Nobody really needs it at all. Yes? Isn't this a fact? Yes. People buy so many clothes to keep up with the latest fashion and then just throw them away. And doing honest work of value also means not doing harm. My work should not be doing harm. This means I shouldn't be having work that's like in the tobacco industry or the alcohol industry. I should be doing good for others. Now, to do this 100% in 2023 is, I think, almost impossible for most people. We know in our smartphones there are some children probably being exploited in Africa to get the materials for our lithium batteries. So to have work that has absolutely no harm is very difficult. But as far as possible, our work should be honest, adding genuine value, and not harming. But we can even go a step further. We can get out of the cycle of frustration. Most people, they want to find what is my dharma so that they can gain wealth, so that they can enjoy, and then after a while they get bored and they want to go on a vacation or get liberation, and then that gets boring, so they go back to work again in order to get prosperity, in order to enjoy, in order to go on a vacation. To get out of that and to work for love. To work for love. Love of ourselves, love of our work, love of others. This is the highest form of doing honest work of value and not harming. Now, we already talked when finding our own field about not working in the wrong field. But we're going to go a little deeper here as far as doing work that's honest and of value and not harming. And that is looking at how when we work in the wrong field, we not only harm ourselves. Remember we talked about the vehicle of fear and putting on that mask, and that's harming ourselves? That was in the circle about ourselves. We're expanding here. And now we're going to look at how when we work in the wrong field, we harm others. And again, this is just an overview. So I have a whole hour class just on this topic. We have 2 chapters in the book on this. So I'm really just touching it. Crossing government and resources. People who work in government, they want to distribute wealth to everyone, to take care of everyone. Government isn't supposed to be concerned with making a profit. Resources has to make a profit to have their work be sustainable and regenerative. Yes, those in government have to put people before projects. Those in resources have to put projects before people, or they won't be able to serve people. Someone with the nature of resources working in government, well, they'll often try to use government for their own profit, yeah? Those with the nature of government working in resources, they'll give away all the profit to take care of people, and they'll bankrupt the business, and then nobody will eat. Crossing government and ideas. Both government and ideas are systems thinkers, visionaries. Yes, but the focus of ideas is much broader. The focus of government is very practical. In government, yes? Okay? Problem? Good? Am I too fast for you? A little bit, yes, but I'm under heavy time constraint. There's like a plane that's going to take off in a few minutes, and I have to make sure that I don't miss the plane. Yes. So I'm trying to balance covering everything and being slow enough for you. So I've slowed my speed 25% from my normal American talking. Yes. If I slow it 50%, I'll go too long. Sorry. Usually for simultaneous translation, I slow it to 50% and talk at this speed. Yes. So crossing government and ideas. So again, both big thinkers. Government is more practical. Ideas may be theoretical. Government has to make decisions quickly, sometimes without all the information. Ideas wants to research thoroughly. Government has to encourage people with national pride, so they'll give to their country and help out. People in ideas think national pride is really dumb. So if somebody from ideas works in government, they might not encourage people to serve their government, take too long to make decisions, and the world gets blown up, right? People in government go to work in ideas. They're not going to put the time and energy into something like pure mathematics. What's that going to be useful for? They'll make decisions much too hastily, and they may corrupt philosophy or religion for political purposes. Crossing ideas and resources. Yes? Both these fields have ethics, but the ethics are very different. If someone has the nature of ideas and they go into resources, they won't want to make a profit. They'll just want to sell enough that they can pay their bills, and then they're going to go home. Right? Again, they're going to ruin the business. No one's going to eat. They just might not even be concerned about it. Someone who has the nature of ideas will think, oh, this is just selfish and profit-minded. Someone from the nature of resources that goes in ideas may use philosophy and ideas to make a profit and therefore corrupt the field of ideas. And people with the nature of resources will think a lot of the work in ideas is, why do you want to write about pure mathematics for a journal that's only read by other mathematicians and doesn't affect how we're going to put food on the table? Crossing government and artistry. Government wants to expand. People in artistry tend to be very satisfied. If people in artistry, if they have good food to eat, a loving romantic partner, they can develop their craft, a roof over their head, they're happy. Therefore, if they work in government, they can be easily corrupted. If somebody offers them a comfortable life, they can be bribed. Also, they're not going to be interested. Why would I want to care about hundreds of thousands of millions of people, you know? I just want to be satisfied with my couch and my TV set and my dog and my wife. And if people from government go into artistry, they're going to be concerned with giving as much people, as many things as possible to take care of them. And they won't be concerned about the craft and the beauty, and they'll destroy the craft. Ideas in artistry is interesting because both ideas and artistry tend to be very self-satisfied. But as we said, artistry, they're satisfied with basic comforts of life. People and ideas often don't even notice comforts of life. They're satisfied with stimulation for the mind and the intellect. Now, it's the people in artistry who provide all the pleasure in society. Without artistry, society is dry. This pleasure is called rasa. You can think of the people in artistry metaphorically as providing all the salt and spices in society. Nothing would be flavorful without them. In contrast, the people in ideas are providing detached wisdom. Is detached wisdom always tasty? No. In fact, it may appear very bitter. If somebody with the nature of artistry goes into the fields of ideas, well, the field of ideas is like the eyes for the society, the visionaries for society. And if someone with the nature of artistry goes into ideas, it will be like putting spices and salt in your eyes. They will corrupt ideas with sensuality. If someone with the nature of ideas goes into artistry, they will dry up the field. I have a friend who has the nature of ideas, but he works as an electrician. And I keep telling him, you're in the wrong field. And he wrote to me recently and he said, you're right, that electricians are interested in making the world beautiful. He said, I look in the electrical boxes and all the wires are beautifully done. He said, what a stupid thing to do. Right? Whoever put this up is definitely not in the field of artistry. 100%. Absolutely 100%. Yes? If people from the field of ideas work in the field of artistry, they take away all of the pleasures of society. Society becomes dry up. All right. Resources in artistry. Resources are expansive. Artistry is satisfied. If someone with the nature of resources goes in the field of artistry, they want to make a profit. What are they going to do to the craft? They're going to automate it. They're going to make it into a factory. They're going to destroy all the beauty. They're going to destroy all the tradition. They're going to destroy the craft. Someone from the nature of artistry goes into resources. They're not going to be concerned about sustainable, regenerative wealth. They're only going to be concerned about being comfortable today. Therefore, they will have businesses that pollute and exploit because that's not their interest. Does everyone see how working in the wrong field destroys honest work of value? Yes? All right. Now we're going to the next circle, the dharmic mastery. Progressing to dharmic mastery. Here there are 3 principles. First, we're going to delight in cherishing our prosperity and our field of work. The 6 types of prosperity we talked about, we don't create them. They come from nature, and everyone says Mother Nature, yes? The Vedic wisdom literature teaches us that the earth is understood as the wife of God. Therefore, we should honor these prosperities as coming from our mother. If we don't cherish our prosperities, it's like cutting off the head of the goose who laid the golden egg, or cutting off the tree that is giving us fruit. How do we cherish our prosperity? First of all, making sure that we take care of our physical and mental health, not working so hard and so long that our physical and mental health suffer. Taking care of any employees or coworkers, making sure that they get vacations, that they get taken care of properly, that we don't exploit them. I recently saw that there's a new best-selling book that says, don't do a work that you love and is your calling, because then your boss will be able to exploit you. Wow. Why not do the work that you're calling, and let's have bosses that learn how not to exploit? Why do you have to work just for cash? Because if you work for a higher principle and for your values, you're open to exploitation. Therefore, all 9 principles are important. Cherish your own physical health. Cherish your own mental health. Cherish the physical and mental health of the people you work with. Cherish the planet. Have work that takes care of the land, the sea, the sky. And then cherish our individual prosperity types. If I'm getting Aishvarya, help other people to feel smart and competent too. If I'm getting Gyan, remember to develop my emotional side. And remember that I can be wrong sometimes. If I'm getting Virya, make sure my strength is earned in a healthy way. Use my strength to help others. If I'm getting Shri, make sure I don't use beauty for personal advantage to exploit others. If I'm getting Yasha, don't demand respect because I have a high reputation. Keep my trust and integrity. If I'm getting Vairagya, don't be so detached that I stop caring about others. Make sure that I still are willing to sacrifice for others. Now, this is a very brief list. We have much expanded explanation in our book. Cherish the field that I'm in. Again, this is extremely brief. If I'm in the field of artistry, keep the quality of my craft. Respect my customers. If I'm in government, always remember that serving people is the top thing. Don't take from government for my own personal aggrandizement. Have equality of justice and take care of everyone without special interests. If I'm in resources, treating the plants, the animals with loving kindness. Treat employees with respect. Be honest financially. If I'm in ideas, make sure that I apply truth beneficially. Always be neutral and objective. Make sure I'm not beholden to anyone financially who might cause me to pervert truth for that purpose, and respect others' expertise. Principle 6, have celebrations of the sacred in our life and work. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 3, verse 16, Krishna says, Evam pavaritam chakram. There is a chakra, there is a wheel that moves. And in nature, this moves naturally. The trees take from nature and they give back to nature. The animals take from nature, they give back to nature. Whereas we can just take. We want to make sure we are also giving back. We are taking from our source, we need to give back. In Sanskrit, this is called yagya. We need to have ceremonies of giving back to our source. Ideally daily, but at least weekly, monthly. And whatever bona fide religious or spiritual system it is, we find these ceremonies of connecting with the divine are very similar, isn't it? Praying, singing glorification, lighting lamps, studying scripture, glorifying the Lord. Some kind of regular celebration and ceremony of the divine in our life and work, ultimately so that every step, every breath, every aspect of our work becomes a celebration of connection with the divine. And the last principle in this area is to work above the shades of ego. So the Vedas teach us that there's 3 shades of ego: tamas, rajas, and sattva. So tamas is like if you have a dark curtain over your window, you can't see anything. Rajas is like you have a sheer curtain, or like the kind of windows that you see in a bathroom. You can see light but not shapes. Sattva is like a clear window. And above the shades is like going outside. Yes? If we want to think of life as a flowing river, those in tamas are polluting. They're fouling the river of life. Those in rajas are trying to push and force the river of life. Those in sattva, they're plunging into and flowing with the river of life. And those above the shades, they're playing and frolicking in the river of life. Tamas is like, yeah, I just want everything to be easy. I'll be a good person if it's easy. If the vegetarian burger is at the burger place and it's the same price, I'll buy it, sure. If it costs more money, forget it. I'll be kind to people if it doesn't cost me anything. It costs me something. I'll take care of my family and don't mess with my family. Don't mess with my friends. I'm not ambitious like all those other people working so hard for stuff, you know, fame and adoration. Materialistic people. Then in Rajas, I'm very good. I'm very righteous. I'm the builder of society. I work hard for what I have. And let me tell you about all my hard work. Everything I have sacrificed and worked for and earned. I have given so much charity. I've built hospitals. I've built schools. I expect my name to be in the history book and my statue up in the park. I'm very kind and forgiving because I want you to notice that and give me something back for it. And I'm probably very religious too. I'm not like these lazy people. And then there's sattva. I'm very spiritual. I have a shelf full of crystals and angels, and I'm really in harmony with life, and I'm so forgiving and caring because it just makes me feel so good inside. You know, and I'm not ambitious or lazy like these other people. You know, I'm really above all of this. So this sattva, rajas, and tamas, this is like the dark side of our work. Many times we're tempted in our work to pull from these shades, to try to give us energy in our work, or they can trip us up in our work. So to really progress to dharmic mastery, we need to be above the shades of ego. Let's look at this in terms of charity. In tamas, you give to the wrong person for the wrong thing. Maybe you give to the alcoholic to buy more alcohol. Or you give to the right person for the right thing, but at the wrong time, like when they're sitting on the toilet. Here's your charity. Or without respect. Here you go, take this money, get out of here. Then in rajas, you give to the right person at the right time, but because you want something back. Give to them, okay, give now, and then later I'll get this. Or you give with regret. Oh, why did I give that much money? I could have spent that on a new car. Or out of obligation. Your boss tells you give to the charity, so you do it. By the way, this charity is not just cash. Remember that? Remember that? Charity is also giving your type of prosperity. Then in sattva, you give to the right person for the right reason at the right time because it just makes you feel so good inside. And above the shades of ego, you give to the right person at the right time to please your source, to please the divine. Let's look at work. In tamas, you work, you're lazy, you procrastinate, you're stubborn, you insult others. In rajas, you're really attached to getting a good result. If your work goes well, you're happy. Your work goes poorly, you're sad. In sattva, you're always determined and detached and just doing your work because it's the right thing to do. But above the shades of ego, this is from Bhagavad Gita 3:30, 3 things not to do, 3 things to do. Don't try to enjoy the 6 kinds of prosperity on a give and take. Don't think I'm the owner of my wealth and my job and not be lazy. What should we do? Dedicate every moment of my work to our ultimate source. Remember that I'm not this mind and body. I am a spiritual self, and work according to my nature. All right, we've now looked at connecting our nature to our livelihood, finding the right fit and nurturing it. Then we went beyond to doing meaningful work. We looked at charity, and we looked at ethical work of value, that it's honest, that it adds real value, it's not exploiting others, it's done for love, and I'm in the right field. Then we went beyond that to dharmic mastery, right? To work above the shades of ego, to always have celebrations of the divine in my life, and to make sure I am cherishing my prosperity type and my field of work. Now we're looking at the whole system. Here we have our last 2 principles. This is not individual, it's collective. To maintain societal balance, cooperation between the fields, and cooperation between the fields and competition within the fields. So the fields should cooperate with each other. The people and ideas train and guide. Government provides licensing and the venues, the facility. Resources provide the resources, the money, the food. And artistry provides all the support system for all of the other fields. And the fields have checks and balances on each other. The people and ideas make sure government sticks to the law. Think of the role of press and government. The government has checks and balances through law. Resources keeps everyone in check and balance through money. And artistry through their numbers, because they're the biggest field. And also because it's the people in artistry who translate concepts from ideas, government, and resources into art, music, dance, and drama. Then within each field, there should be competition. Healthy, happy competition. In theory, doing our best is worthwhile for its own sake. But our founder of ISKCON, he said, competition brings life. In practice, having competition, when we have an opponent, we are encouraged to do our best. It focuses our mind. It invigorates our effort. It reminds us of our potential. Not the kind of competition that wants to erase others or dominate over others. But like if you have, all the jewelry store in one place or all the fashions in one place, that competition invigorates everyone. Competition in artistry brings us masterpieces. Competition in resources. It enables us to feed so many of the world's people. Innovations in technology. Competition in government. We can experiment with so many different types of government and different political parties in order to serve people better. Competition in ideas leads to advances in medicine, to reinvigoration of religious systems, and to deeper understandings of philosophy. And the last principle, all-inclusive, sustainable prosperity. My dear friends, the economists of the world made a deliberate and intentional attempt to separate economic theories from the land. Modern economists are propounding unlimited economic growth on a finite planet. Is that possible? Theories of unlimited economic growth simply lead to huge wealth disparities and exploitation. Therefore, the final principle of career dharma on a systems level is that we should live in a way that we respect the finite planet that we're on, so that everybody can have the work that actually fulfills them and gives them a prosperous life. So again, we talked about identifying our ideal career field and prosperity type, going beyond that to learning the secrets of making your work deeply meaningful, progressing towards dharmic mastery, and finally the whole system. Connecting our nature with our livelihood, advancing through life while nourishing our nature, extending our prosperity to others, having ethical and meaningful work of value, delight in cherishing our propensity, our prosperity and field of work, having celebrations of the sacred in our life and work, being above the shades of ego, attaining societal balance, cooperation between the fields, and competition within the fields, and all-inclusive, sustainable prosperity. Again, I ran through this very, very quickly. I just really touched the surface. If you would like to get on our mailing list and we can let you know when the book and in-depth courses are available, you can sign up there. We have 3 minutes, if we could have time for 1 or 2 questions, and I will be at the feast if you want to talk with me more. Anybody have 1 question? Anybody? Take 1 or 2 questions. Yes.
I just love that what you were explaining about the competition, and would you be so kind and tell us once more? The competition brings life, you said, or something like that?
Srila Prabhupada said that. He said competition brings life. it invigorates us. If it's healthy competition, if it's respectful competition. You know, I have some grandchildren who regularly play sports. And, you know, after every game, no matter who wins or who loses, they all, you know, congratulate each other. As a spirit of respect. And if the other team does something good, they also cheer. Yes? But competition should be only within the fields. People and ideas can compete with other people and ideas, but not with people in government. People in resources compete with other people in resources, but not when people in artistry. Between the fields, you want cooperation. Competition becomes bad when it's between the fields, or if it's done in a mean and nasty or vindictive or envious way. Yes. Okay? Anybody else have a question? Thank you. That was wonderful. I'm so glad. So many people today think all competition is bad. Yeah? Yes.
Many questions, but
Many. Just pick one right now.
how to connect talents with this nature? Because usually in secular society it's spoken about talents and passions, and we are speaking
All
about
right,
nature.
talents. Well, we can have talents in many things. And Krishna says, even if you're very talented in one field, don't work there if it's not your field. What we're concerned about is where our values fit. Now, each field is very big. Each of these fields encompasses probably hundreds of thousands of careers. And there certainly within your field, you can find something that uses your talents. Srila Prabhupada said once that everybody has some extraordinary talent, and to serve Krishna with your talent means successful life. But don't just look at what you're good at. It's not only about what you're good at. It's about what your values are. Okay? What you're good at is a piece of it. First, figure out what your values are. What's your dharma? And then find something you're good at within that dharma. There are things I'm very good at that damage me. As an example, I'm very good at acting. And I enjoy it. However, it damages me. It's in artistry. I mean, unless I'm doing like just philosophical or Leela plays or something like that. Otherwise, it damages me. You follow? It puts me in a different dharmic system. And I was noticing that. I mean, I was doing some dramas with devotees. And they were Leela, but they weren't Leela enough. I don't know how to explain this. They were, how do I explain? They were very modernized. And they were incorporating a huge amount of artistry in them. They were like 85% artistry and 15% ideas. And I found myself behaving, when I wasn't in the practice and I wasn't on stage, I found myself behaving in ways that were strange. And I'm like, what's happening with me? And it's like, oh, I'm going into a sensual field. I don't belong there. It's not my place. Does that make sense? I'm very good at it. And I use some of that in my teaching, yes? Yes? I had a lot of training in it. But I'm not meant to work there. It damages me and it would damage society. Yeah? And I can feel it. I can feel it. I'm not supposed to be acting like this. I'm getting damaged. Yeah? Is that okay? I'll take one more, and after that Yes?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So I just wanted to ask you, how would you describe or analyze today's world in a global sense in these four categories? What is being followed?
It's a mess.
It's a total mess.
That's my simple answer. It is a mess. Which is why Ruchira Datta and I took 6 years to work on this. It's a mess. Very few of these 9 principles I went through, are most of these followed in the world today? Actually, especially when you see people working in the wrong field, the more Ruchira and I got into that, the more we could see how many problems in the world were from people working in the wrong field. But any one of these, you can just see how it's a mess. People don't know what they are. They don't know what they're supposed to do. They don't know how to do it properly. I mean, it's very unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate. So thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I want to remind you that I do have a book here, and if you're interested, you can see Valentina. We just have a few copies. I'm happy to sign it for you.
Njena milost, Urmila Mataji ki jai. Thank you very much.
With the remote to turn this off.
To turn off. Znaš ti ugasant. Zdaj bo na vrsti Gaura Arati.
Haribo, Haribo. Panchatattva ki jai. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Prahlada Daine. Hiranyakashipu Vakshaha. Shilatankana Kalaye. Ito Nrisimha Parato Nrisimho. Yato Yamitato Nrisimha. Bakhir Nrisimho, Hridaye Nrisimho. Nrisimha Madim Sharanam Prapade. Kavakara Kamalavare Nakamadvuta Shringa. Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanupringa. Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa. Jai Jagadisha Hare, Jai Jagadisha Hare, Jai Jagadisha Hare. Kavakara Kamalavare Nakamadvuta Shringa. Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanupringa. Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa. Jai Jagadisha Hare, Jai Jagadisha Hare, Jai Jagadisha Hare. Shri Nrsimha Jai Nrsimha Jaya Jai Nrsimha Dev Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringa Shri Nrsimha Jai Nrsimha Jaya Jai Nrsimha Dev Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringa Nrsimha Jai Nrsimha Jaya Jai Nrsimha Dev Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringa Jaya Nrsimha Dev Nrsimha Dev Nrsimha Dev Jaya Nrsimha Dev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj.
Jai Vishnupat Ram Saparvarjagacharya Ashtu Uttara Shatta Shri Srimad Srila Bhai Sharminda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Vishnupat Ram Saparvarjagacharya Ashtu Uttara Shatta Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sadvaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kundara Kant Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Gangamayi Yamunamayi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Om Saslavas Branim Bhaktam Hare Krishna Saslavas Branim Bhaktam Hare Krishna Saslavas Branim Bhaktam Hare Krishna Saslava Shri Guru and Shri Gaurangi Saslava Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Zdaj pa še kratka obvestila. Najprej bi kar začeli s padajatro, ki se bo začela že konec meseca, zadnji torek v mesecu. Več o tem bo povedal naš Navadvip Chandra Prabhu.
Hare Krišna, dragi bakte. Zdaj tako, jaz bi se rad na kratko javil iz organizacijskega tabora letošnje padajatre. Zdaj, enkrat smo se že oglasili prejšnji Sunday Feast, pa smo rekli, da bo čez dobre 3 tedne. Evo, zdaj lahko rečemo že čez dobre 2 tedna, tako da vročica se stopnjuje. Upajmo, da tudi vzunaj, tako vemo, ni ta prave padajatre brez malo ta pravega poletja. Bomo videli, kako bo. Prvi dan začnemo že v Novem mestu, se pravi 27. junija. Razpored smo že poslali po elektronski pošti, pa na Facebooku, pa tako. Tako da res bi bilo lepo, da bi se lahko čim več baktov vzeli čas, vemo, so službe pa tako, ampak če si lahko kaj organiziramo v tej smeri, bi bilo res lepo, da bi bilo tako videti, da je to en kolektivni napor celotne jatre, ne. In v bistvu je to, vemo, če vsaj malo filozofsko razumemo stvari, pa željo našega Šrila Prabhupada, da v bistvu je to najpomembnejši projekt, no, tako kot cele jatre, ne samo nekih posameznikov. Pa mislim, da si lahko v misiji gospoda Čitanja vsakdo najde kakšno zaposlitev, nekaj, kar lahko doprinese k padajatri. Tako da tudi včeraj smo imeli čudovito praznovanje Lalita Govinda Prabhuja. Vemo, on je bil motor te padajatre in tudi njemu bo sigurno v veliko veselje, ko bo videl, da v velikem številu nadaljujemo s to padajatro, da se trudimo razvijati ta projekt. Tako da to je to. Zdaj malo takih novosti je to, da bomo letos novosti, da bomo probali biti čim bolj urejeni, ker vemo, ljudje slišijo sveto ime, dobijo peškotke, presadam, ampak veliko dajo tudi na ta zunanji videz, tako da bomo letos probali biti čim bolj urejeni. V ta namen bomo tudi izdali eno brošurico, kjer bojo neke usmeritve, kako izgledati v hare-ramu, kako se obnašati. Probali bomo vsi imeti čim bolj enotne rumene majčke, letos ste videli tudi celostna podoba tega promocijskega materiala v tem smislu. Nove čadre, rdeče bomo izdelali v ta namen. Pa tako no, tako da se bomo tudi na tem področju probali potruditi, da smo videti kot ena urejena skupnost. Tako da to je to, evo. Juga Dharma Harinam Sankirtanjage ki čaj, Padajatra 2023 ki čaj.
Pred Padajatro, teden dni, tako 23. junija do 26. junija, bo prišel k nam Hare Krišna Gosvami, tako da si rezervirajte čas za to obdobje. Danes prasadam ni sponzoriran, zato vas povabim,